I would say statistically, most people aren't that talented. So the people who are looking for people are usually looking for hard workers because they're looking for somebody who can work hard because they understand that talent is a very rare thing and it's easily replaceable. So yeah, I would second what Alan said.
When someone is a hard worker and they're humble, you can polish that diamond. I would much rather have someone humble and hardworking than someone brilliant any day of the week. Brilliant people tend to have these huge egos that are just annoying.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was episode number 1367, Why You're Not Building Self-Belief, because maybe you're not self-assigning. That was a very deep one. Today, for episode number 1368, happy Thursday, hard work beats talent. I'm sure you've heard this phrase on fortune cookies and internet memes far and wide throughout your lifetime, but I came across a YouTube channel recently, and I don't know, I watch YouTube more than anything. Yeah, Tara and I will watch a show on Netflix together, but if I'm hanging out by myself, I'm watching YouTube. It's just kind of what I consume now. And I came across this individual. His name's Matt Armstrong. He lives in the UK, London, something like that. And one of his videos popped up where the title of the video was, I found an abandoned Lamborghini. I bought it. Now I'm going to fix it up. And I was like, interesting. Interesting. I've been feeling more into cars based on the fact that I got a new car. And I just said, you know what? I'm eating something. I'm going to watch this. And I just love the dude's personality. He is maybe the most positive human I've ever seen in my entire life. Even more positive than you, believe it or not. Now, again, it's on YouTube. It's edited, so who knows if he really is that positive, but it was quite inspiring. So I watched a bunch of it. I watched an entire series of him rebuilding this car, and I was like, this guy's really good. I mean, they rebuilt the engine in a Lamborghini. For those of you who don't know, a Lamborghini is like a $250,000 car, and anytime you get work done on it, it is like thousands and thousands of dollars, and rebuilding an engine is a whole thing that most people do not know how to do. So I watched this entire thing, and I just love this dude. I'm in. He's my buddy now, virtually, and he doesn't know it yet, but we are buddies. We're going to be buddies one day. And I end up finding the origin story of how he got into this. And he started out as somebody who just loved cars, and he would work on cars on the side, but he has no formal training. So if something broke, he'd try to fix it. He'd YouTube it. He'd Google it. But he was a professional BMX rider, and it was not providing him enough money to live, really. So he went and got a job at an Indian restaurant. And he went from working 1 night a week to 2 nights a week to 3 nights a week to 4 nights a week to 5 nights a week to 6 nights in a week to 7 nights. Every single day he was working. So he would work a day job. Then he would go and work a night job at the Indian restaurant. He was also riding his bike, and he started a YouTube channel where he would just like work on cars. And again, he had no idea what he was doing. No clue. He knew how to video edit because he had learned that, but he didn't know what he was doing. So he just kept grinding. I think he did this every day for 2 years. He worked 7 days a week every day for 2 years. Eventually, he got enough money to buy property, and he bought a house, and he was able to renovate the house and flip it and make some money. And he just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. The thing that really, really jumped off the page for me is the fact that he is working on really nice cars. He has a really nice garage, and he has a very large YouTube channel, and he has no talent when it comes to working on cars. He didn't go to school for it. He's not a professional mechanic. He literally says in the video, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so I'm going to figure it out. And there are many times where I have seen him put together something incorrectly, have to take everything out and replace everything and say, all right, I did it wrong this time. I'll get it right this time. And he's just a super positive human being. Now more than ever, it's very interesting because of the internet and because of YouTube and social media and the opportunities that are out there. If you work really hard, you can rely on that way more than talent, even more than before. There's another YouTube channel I found, and Alan's going to say like, Kev, what are you doing? Are you doing any work? This guy, his name is Steve. He has a channel where he literally camps in weird places. So he camped I don't know if there's other places that have roundabouts. You know, we have roundabouts in Massachusetts. A roundabout, instead of having like 4 stop signs, it's just a circle. You drive your car in, you can kind of go off on the exit you want. It's mayhem. But he camped in the middle of one. There was like a bunch of trees. So we just like camped there overnight and recorded a YouTube video. It has like 5 million views or something. But he works incredibly hard to post every week and to find new places and go through the comments and build a community. And it's just, I don't know, it just inspires me that there are a lot of people who are far less talented than you, who are far more successful just because they've been working really, really, really hard for a long period of time. And I would put you and I into this, but I do think you are gifted with your brain and other things. But you and I have just worked really, really, really hard. I wasn't a talented speaker. I'm still not. I mean, I'm the best I've ever been, and I'm getting better. I wasn't a talented podcaster. I wasn't a talented business owner. But you and I dedicated ourselves to working hard every single day for the last 6 years, and here we are, and it's very important that we never forget that. So I want this episode to be as much an inspirational episode, a motivational episode, as a potential opportunity to look in the mirror and say, look, am I saying because of circumstances I can't be successful? This dude has a YouTube channel where he goes and camps in weird places, and he has millions of subscribers, but it would never happen. It's not because he's talented necessarily. Or it's not high quality video. He's not a great speaker. He's got a good personality. Seems like a good dude, but he's not super talented. But he did work really hard, and hard work beats talent. End epic monologue there.
Nicely done.
I appreciate that very much.
You know that I agree. People say work smart, not hard. I disagree, particularly for young people, because we talked about this on the episode about discipline and design. If you have not listened to that, it is 2 episodes ago.
The 2Ds, 1366. Yep.
The 2Ds, episode 1366. In that episode, we talked about discipline and design. That really might as well be work hard and smart. Discipline is work hard. Design is work smart. And you can't do one without the other. That's why it's a bad saying. And so what I would say is this. The person who works hard will always beat the person who doesn't. The person who works smart will always beat the person who works hard. But no one can stop the person who does both. Work hard, learn, grow, work smarter, then work harder, then work smarter, then work harder, then work smarter, and the byproduct is going to be growth, whether it's that YouTube channel, whether it's fixing cars. And one thing I want to share as well, Kev, that was very clear to me when you talked about his origin story. And when you said in particular, you gave me a little challenge, a little shield bump there of like, he's more positive than you. He's extremely optimistic. I can tell. Even though he was losing so much, he was willing to work really hard because he probably believed it would be worth it. He probably was very optimistic. He probably had a lot of self-belief.
It seems that way.
Seems like he has a lot of self-belief. Yeah?
Well,
especially when it comes to our last episode about being able to figure it out. I mean,
yeah.
Well, that's a bold statement. Hey, I'm going to fix this Lamborghini. It's like not having ever worked on a car like that before.
When I tell you the optimism, taking apart a car engine, especially something like that, is like a full day endeavor. And if you mess it up, I don't know how much a Lamborghini engine is, but it's probably like $50,000. So if you mess up, you're out $50,000. They messed it up several times. It didn't break, but they literally had to break the engine apart like 5 times. And he's like, damn. Well, okay, we're going to do it again. And he's like laughing about it. And it's just like the level of positivity he has. But here's the interesting thing. It's because he's not jaded by the fact that he's really good at something. And if it doesn't go right, he packs his bag and goes home. It's because he identifies, I'm sure, as a really hard worker. There's an interesting distinction there where if you identify as I'm really good at something, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a really hard worker, and that can be to your detriment in the long run.
Yeah, well played with that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, like if we identified as really, really great podcasters, but we didn't identify as really hard workers, what's ironic is we never would have became really great podcasters. And if you listen to the beginning of this show, episode 6, I think is the first one, because for some reason the first 5 episodes on SoundCloud got killed forever. Yeah. Which is unfortunate because the very first interview was brutal, and it was
the best one.
The best one. Kevin interviewed me, and you would know if you could go back and listen how bad we were if we didn't have the identity of. That is one thing I will say. We have always had that identity. Have you ever not identified as a hard worker?
Probably when I was younger. I was fairly lazy. I mean, when I was pumping gas, I was trying to get the easy way out for sure.
When did you start identifying as a hard worker?
Probably when I was doing more physical labor later. No, that's not true. I don't know. No, I would identify as like I wanted to do the least amount of work possible for a lot of my life. I don't know if I'm a naturally... Because again, we've said this before. You hear people say how you do one thing is how you do everything. And you and I always joke. I'm like, that's dumb. That's not true. That's stupid. I don't agree with that. Now, again, I'm sure there's a time and a place for it. But I try to do stuff the most intelligent way. Sometimes that's a lot of hard work. Other times it's like, I'm just going to take the easy way out. Now, I don't think I do that anymore because that changed a lot. I mean, when you're a business owner, there is the smart way, work more. That's usually, the smart way is usually work more. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
When I first worked with you, I remember vividly thinking to myself, I don't think I can ever work with anyone who's not a hard worker again.
Mm. Well,
what about the physical fitness? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
you worked really hard.
Just because I didn't identify as one does not mean I was not one. Again, that's the interesting thing. I definitely identified as a hard worker. The job I had before you and I partnered up, that was a very, very challenging, I stayed up for days on end. I drove 12 hours after working an 8-hour day, like stuff that people, and I went to the gym after. Stuff
the
that most
identity
people
piece for you never really landed.
No,
That's
no,
so
no.
interesting.
No.
No wonder why you struggle with self-belief, man. It never locked in. No matter how hard you worked, you never identified as a hard worker?
I think I was comparing to people who I thought were working harder.
That comparison thing is so dangerous. If you're only comparing to people who work harder, you'll never feel like you're a hard worker.
Yeah, but I do think it served me. In a way. I don't know.
So like your coach, Justin, works harder than you in fitness.
Definitely.
Okay, if you only compare to him, you're never going to think you work hard in fitness.
I know, but what if that's the way it's supposed to be?
I mean, it depends on your goal. Yeah, I see you. I see what you're saying.
Like I wanted to make $100,000. I had to, and if nobody else on my job wanted to do that, I had to work harder than everybody else. I would never turn down a job. I remember we worked in, it was like 2 hours from where I lived at the time. It was near Six Flags. So we have a Six Flags in Massachusetts. And we were literally working on a building where we could see Six Flags. And my boss called after like 7 hours. He's like, hey, I need you guys to go to New York tonight. And we were like, we don't have any stuff. Like we have to come all the way home and then drive to New York. And he's like, well, the job's yours if you guys want to do it. And we're like, yeah, we'll do it. So we worked an 8-hour day. We drove to the job 2 hours. We worked an 8-hour day, drove another 2 hours back to the job, back to our office. I drove an hour home to pack a bag. Then I drove an hour back to the office, and then I drove 6 hours to New York, slept for like 4 hours, and then worked the next day. But I wanted to win.
It's so weird, man. I don't know if I can... You and I are hard to learn from because...
Yes, but this is the thing, though, and I think
you're a sicko.
But this can go across the board. I know. This can go across the board. I usually understood that if I didn't know something, the hard work would highlight itself. If people are looking for people who say, you know what, I'm not sure, but I'll give it a shot, or like, yeah, whatever it takes, I'm in, I'll do it. I've always known that that's what people were looking for. So if I could represent hard work, I knew I'd get more opportunities. So I knew it would be worth it.
That's good.
I believed it would be worth it. I think I think for a lot of people, hard work isn't worth it because it doesn't give you more of what you want. We've said this many times before. You've said this. Entrepreneurship is like a pie eating contest, except what is it? I don't want to butcher it.
Oh. Yeah. Shout out to Kay Stenner, my client for a long time. He's doing very, very well. He said, yeah, being a lawyer, he was a very high-end lawyer, and he said being a lawyer is a lot like a pie eating contest where the harder you work, the more work you get. In other words, it's like a pie eating contest where the reward is more pie.
Right.
And I think that's true for entrepreneurship as well, until way later.
Yeah.
Way later it becomes, about being resourceful and leadership more than, grinding. But you need both depending on how high you're shooting. Okay, let's bring this back. You always say that. You're like, I wanted to win. It's like, I don't even know if I know what that means sometimes. Because everyone wants to win.
I wanted
right?
to be successful. And whatever that meant.
Doesn't everyone want to be successful?
Yeah, but...
Is that a huge blind spot we have?
No, I think everybody wants to be more successful. But what are you willing to trade?
Yeah.
What I did was not healthy. It's not healthy for me to work as much as I did, to drive. We used to have to pour water on ourselves on the ride home because we were so tired to stay awake.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
Nor sustainable. Nor sustainable, yeah.
No.
I think about that all the time, too. Some of these people, T. Rob's, big fan. Tony Robbins, obviously, he's helped a lot of people. I respect him so deeply for that. He's helped so many people transform their lives. And regardless of any of that other stuff, I'm a big fan and respect the work he's done in the world. He's helped my life a lot. His books, yeah. But he has really burnt himself to the ground in many ways. The dude can barely talk. His voice is deeply raspy, and I respect the work ethic, man. I do. I really do. But there's got to be an optimal stopping problem there. And I don't think he particularly thought of himself as very talented, although I do think he was naturally a strong communicator. I don't think he thought of himself as particularly intelligent. And just for those of you who don't know Tony Robbins, he's 60 now, and he is definitely beaten up. You can just see it. He's there's a joke in the U.S. about when you become a U.S. president, you age, 15 years in one term because of the stress. And so T. Robs has definitely revved his engine, for lack of better phrasing, for a very long time. Overly, redlining, another car analogy to bring it back to the cars.
Next Level University and Kevin is exactly where you need to be if you're a podcaster. When I first started out just a few months ago, I had no clue on the direction I was going. I was getting hustled by another company that was giving me not even close to the value that Kevin and Next Level U was giving me. They literally changed the trajectory of my podcast, have helped me out tremendously. They understand the clients. I promise you, you will not go wrong with dealing with Kevin and Next Level U. I'll see you there.
To bring this back to hard work, I don't know when I started identifying as a hard worker, but I would ask the listeners, do you identify as that? I think that that's a drastically underutilized thing. I don't think, I joke around. I'm kitchen man. I'm dish man. I'm always being playful with that. We were joking earlier, Emilia and I, CEO man. I like to self-identify as the thing, which helps me behave in ways that the thing, and you got to be careful because obviously that's limiting. But do you identify as a hard worker? If you don't, it's very important to start building that because, as a business owner, if you're not a hard worker, you are in some serious trouble, with the economy. And I just want to be honest because I want to help people. I told that one story about the subway that I'll never go to anymore. They just hired someone who's extremely lazy and I'm never going to go back. And if that business owner knew how many customers they're losing because I can't spend 45 minutes waiting for you for a sub. I know that sounds entitled, but my time is more important than that. But hard work over talent, hands down. I'm going to use Brandon as an example. Brandon, I told Brandon's the director of book club. We're in book club. And I said this to Brandon. I said, Brandon, I coach him and his girlfriend Hannah, and they're amazing. And it's like they're humble and such a huge fan. Huge fan. They have a dream to have a horse ranch one day. And we are literally helping them get to that goal, that dream. And they are literally saving the dollars now to eventually and they will have a horse ranch, like a multi-million-dollar horse ranch, assuming they stay on the path. So assuming they stay on the path, mathematically speaking, they will have $1 million horse ranch. It's awesome. Okay, that's their dream. Now, it's not going to happen in 5 minutes or 5 days, but it can happen in 5 years. Okay? Now, I told Brandon, I said, brother, because he came to me, he's like, dude, I need help. Like, what do I do about this? It's like, brother, grit is not the issue. Hard work is not the issue with you. With most people, I gotta be quite frank, hard work is probably the problem. Like if you can't do like 3 solid hours of difficult work, you're in serious trouble. And I need to make that clear. Because I care. Okay? Because I care. Kevin can work so hard. It's why he's gotten here. It's not luck. Okay? With Brandon, hard work is not the issue. And grit is not the issue. And I talk about how he's, I think I said 333 days in a row. I think it's actually less than that. I screwed up the number. But he's 250 plus days of a mile a day every single day. And he hasn't missed once. He has hard work. Hard work's not the problem. For him, he always identified, and he wouldn't mind me sharing this, he always identified as a not very smart blue-collar worker. That's the issue. He needs to change that identity. You are smart. You need to change the narrative, the story you've told yourself about not being smart enough. And honestly, here's how you get smarter. Just go learn. Start reading books. Start taking courses. We're going to get LinkedIn Learning for the team. Like, there's no reason why he can't come up on that front. And when he does, watch out, world, because he's already got the hard work. When someone is a hard worker and they're humble, you can polish that diamond. I would much rather have someone humble and hardworking than someone brilliant any day of the week. Brilliant people tend to have these huge egos that are just annoying.
Well, I think of it as like a video game character. If you only had, when you're creating a video game character, you only get so many points you can use. What would you want, and what would you put the points into? Hard work. Right. I mean, think of it this way. A lot of the tools that we create are created to help hard work be easier. There's a reason, because hard work's so valuable. Like think of any piece of construction equipment. It makes hard work easier because hard work is that valuable, where it has to get done, and it's that's how I think of it. That's how I was going to use Brandon too, so you beat me to it. But I really think that this is an interesting thing. Somebody who identifies as a hard worker often does not identify as super intelligent. But imagine if you could take your hard work and say, well, I'm a hard worker. I can work hard at this. Just because it's not physical in the real world does not mean it's not hard work. There's a lot of internal hard work. Learning is hard work. Facing difficult mirrors is hard work. Relationships can be hard work. Overcoming limiting beliefs is hard work. All of that is hard work. But the ultimate thought here is, I just don't want you, if you're watching or listening, to use that as a circumstance of lack of success, whatever that means to you, or a circumstance to not try.
Yeah.
No, I'm just not super talented. Cool. Most people aren't. That's the interesting thing. Most people aren't. Like maybe Taylor Swift was super talented. Cool. Awesome. Maybe your favorite actor or actress is super talented. Awesome. But there's a lot of other things in the world that you can be doing that aren't necessarily that. And here's the interesting thing too. I would say statistically, most people aren't that talented. So the people who are looking for people are usually looking for hard workers, because they're looking for somebody who can work hard, because they understand that talent is a very rare thing and it's easily replaceable. So yeah, I would second what Alan said. Anytime we're talking about having somebody come on the team, I don't care I don't know. Did you go to school? I don't know. I don't even care. That's the last question I'm going to ask. Are you humble and are you willing to work hard? Cool. There's a spot here for you. If not, then this probably isn't the place. And that's okay. That's okay. Maybe you can start your own thing. You feel like you're super talented and, maybe starting your own thing is the play for you.
The last thing I'll share, I forget which book it was. It was a very well-researched book. This is either in The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler or The Hidden Habits of Genius by, I forget the author. But I remember reading about prodigies and how they often don't end up super successful. Do you remember reading this?
I think it was The Hidden Habit of Genius, I believe.
Okay. So in The Hidden Habits of Genius, it's a Yale professor, I forget his name, but he did a course at Yale for 30 years plus about geniuses, quote unquote. And it's an exhaustive study of all the geniuses in history. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Steve Jobs being one of them. And essentially he comes up with the 14 character traits of genius and obsessive, passionate, these different things. Self-belief. But anyways, what he talks about in the book that is relevant to this episode of Hard Work versus Talent is basically very few humans are prodigies. Like there's the Mozarts and there's the occasional prodigy. And what he says is that statistically speaking, these extremely talented prodigies end up letting most people down because they flake out early, or maybe they were forced to sing when they didn't want to, or forced to play piano, or whatever it is, right? And what actually genius is, more so, Darwin and all these different geniuses of history, what he's found from studying them is that it's actually the consistent compound effect of obsessive passion over time, aka hard work. And so, again, whether you're a genius or a prodigy or not, or talented or not, at the end of the day, I'm certain of this, you're more capable than you probably think. I mean, very few people are not capable of great things. I don't think anyone is in their own unique way. I tell the story and I want to share this because it's so important. I remember I was really single, I was really alone, I was really miserable, and I used to go to Panera because they had bottomless coffee and I would just work, hard work. I would work for hours and hours and hours. And I just hated my life. And but I was a broke entrepreneur, and I was committed to be successful, committing to helping people, committed to improve, committed to growth, committed to caffeine as well. So I'm at Panera, and it was just this really there's two Paneras that I used to frequent. One was in Millbury, one was in Worcester. Doesn't matter. I used to get kicked out at night. This one Panera in particular, it was like 10 o'clock. They're like, you have to leave. Like, we have to close up. Like, can we go? Like, every night? Really? What's the deal? I don't have any friends, so hey. But anyways, just being playful.
Panera is my friend.
Panera is my friend, and bottomless coffee is also my friend because it's only $3.50 for basically 10 cups of coffee. Now, so what was my point of all that? Hold on.
Hard work.
Hard work.
Maybe there was a person there who also worked hard.
Yeah. I found this one worker at Panera who, and I don't know the proper term, so I don't want to get this wrong, mentally challenged. Whatever the proper term is, I don't know. Special needs?
Special needs. I don't know what the proper term is, but I appreciate your inclusiveness.
Of course. So the best worker ever. Like, just wiping all the tables down, asking people what they need, grabbing people's empty tray, like best ever. And I had this moment. I said, that person is maximizing their potential more than some of the people I know from college. I remember some people in college, and WPI is one of the best tech schools in the world. It's a famous school. I know some geniuses, brilliant people that are lazy and that are squandering their potential. And I had that really cool visceral moment of watching that person at Panera and say, they're maximizing their potential more than some of my old friends. And it did. It bothered me. It's supposed to bother me. I think my purpose is helping people unlock their potential, unlocking my own. I think it's my purpose. But that inspired me so much. Like, this person is out here doing it, right? They probably make decent money too. I know it's more than minimum wage. Great worker. So hopefully that can inspire some other people too. And I think that's important. Hard work over talent every day of the week. Do you need some talent? Do you need some expertise? Do you need some knowledge? Do you need some skills? Yes, 100%. But if you're hardworking, you can go develop most of those things no matter where you start. Even this person who had limited means made something of it. And to me, that matters more than anything you were handed on a silver platter by biology or by getting lucky or by your parents.
Well, the last thing I'll say before we go is the people who seem the most talented might also just be further along with consistency and hard work. If I didn't watch his name is Matt Armstrong. If I didn't watch his video about how this all started, I would assume he was a high-level mechanic. And I might have had the must be nice syndrome of like, look at all your cars. Look at the cars you get to work on. You got millions of views. You're like the happiest dude. You look like you got a cute dog. You look like you're in a great relationship. It's like, no. He worked 7 days a week, 13 hours a day to get to where he is.
For 2 years.
Yeah. And it might even have been longer than that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. That's my guess off the top of my head. But he seems super talented, but most of it is hard work just compounded over time. Mm-hmm. And in the grand scheme of things, I don't know. Does he have an advantage when it comes to mechanical stuff? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. He makes a lot of mistakes, so I would bet that he probably doesn't.
I doubt he was a prodigy. Otherwise, he would have probably done cars sooner.
Well, and he said, like, yeah, I was a professional BMX rider, but like I didn't make any money, and that was just because I'd been riding for a long time. You know, it wasn't a talent thing. It wasn't a talent thing. It was a hard work thing, and you can see it by the way that he still works today. So I was inspired by that. I'm always inspired when I see people doing what they love that weren't necessarily great at it. Just like they just kept doing it long enough where eventually something happened and, you know, maybe somebody saw the video or a lot of people saw the video or something happened where things aligned for them based on the fact that they've been working hard enough. I love that. I'm all about that.
Same.
Luck, nah.
Yeah, man. Nope.
You know, you can't control luck. You can't control hard work. Okay, we are going to go. If you are into hard work, and part of the hard work that you practice is hard work on yourself. You want to become more physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually successful, relationships, finances, all of that happy jazz. Our 11th round of group coaching is starting on July 11th. So it's the middle of the summer. A lot of people are not focused on improving. Imagine if you dedicate some time to yourself, and after summer, you are what feels like best version of yourself. Most consistent, most aligned, all of that happy jazz. We're only taking 10 people. Please click the link in the show notes if you're interested. We also have a discount code, so just reach out to us, Alan at nextleveluniverse.com, Kevin at nextleveluniverse.com. We'll give you 30% off the entire purchase.
All right, imagine you order a pizza and there's 10 slices.
Oh my God,
I'm doing it. There's 10 slices. You take one slice and you cut that into 10 slices, okay? That is 1% of the pizza. All you have to do, and then I tell you, all you have to do is eat one of those a day. That's what it would be like to get 1% smarter per day, okay? Now, the math works out. If you get 1% smarter per day, the math works out to being 38 times smarter by the end of the year. Okay, so it compounds. Could you get 1% smarter per day? Of course. So book club, that is what it's built around. We don't read fiction books. We don't read books for fun. We read books that will help you get better. And when you get better, your life will get better. So Lisa Feldman Barrett, How Emotions Are Made. We are about halfway done with this book. Join us anytime. The discussions are super powerful. I had one person on book club literally say, I do self-improvement all the time. And I want to thank you, Alan, because it's not often anymore. At the beginning of my journey, it was breakthrough, 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 breakthrough. These days, it's not as many breakthroughs, but since coaching with you and book club, it's been breakthrough, like really blown my mind. So take her word for it, not mine. Join us in book club. You can participate as much as you want or as little as you want. Please join us. The link to the landing page will be in the show notes.
Tomorrow for episode number 1369. Alan and I enjoyed it very, very much. So we're going to do another Alan interviews Kev. Kev interviews Alan. I don't know what the title is yet, based on the fact that we haven't recorded it yet, but there will be a title. So when you are listening to this episode and you see a new episode drop tomorrow, there will be a title. I just don't know what it is. And then after that, there's going to be another episode that drops. I also don't know what that is, but I will. And then it'll have a name. And then when you go to see it, there'll be a name.
Well said.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep working hard. Next Level Nation.